Welcome to Traveler's Tales. I am your host, Greg Alonzo. Today I will be your guide through history as we take a look at the fabled city of gold. Before we begin, just a quick reminder that we post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday with special editions on Thursdays. Moving right along, mythology tells us one thing while archaeology tells us another. Where was the legendary city of gold? Did it truly exist or was it just a myth? Why were the Spaniards so obsessed with this tale? Today we will answer these questions as we take a look at El Dorado, the city of gold. This city is commonly associated with a legend of a city or kingdom of gold. The Spaniards believed it to be the kingdom of the mythical King Zipa of the Muisca people of Colombia. What was the reason the Spaniards would so readily believe that such a kingdom even existed? According to the legend, each new ruler of the Muisca people brought a sacrifice to the sun god in the mountain lake of Guatavita, which is near present-day Bogota. At night, and once the bonfires were lit, the new king's body was covered in a paste of gold dust. Together with 4 nobles, the king would board a raft loaded with different objects of gold and precious stones. They would then row out to the middle of the lake and throw the nuggets and gems into the water. Once this was done, the king would jump into the lake, washing all the gold dust from his body. Now that the offering was complete, the ritual was designed to placate the god and would assure a prosperous reign for the new king. A second location for El Dorado was inferred from rumors, which inspired several unsuccessful expeditions in search of a city called Manoa. It was said that this city could be found on the shores of Lake Parime. 2 of the most famous of these expeditions were led by Sir Walter Raleigh. Also in pursuit of the legend were the Spanish conquistadors. Their exploits took them across Colombia, Venezuela, parts of Guyana, and northern Brazil. In the course of these expeditions, much of northern South America and the Amazon River were mapped. As time came to pass, most people gave up on the search, concluding that it was nothing more than a myth. How was it that such a legendary city came to the attention of the Europeans? Even before the conquest of the Aztec and Inca empires and the Muisca Confederation, the Spanish collected vague hearsay about these polities and their riches. After the Inca Empire in Peru was conquered by Francisco Pizarro, and its riches proved to be real, new rumors of riches reached the Spanish. The earliest reference to an El Dorado-like kingdom occurred in 1531 during the expedition of Diego de Ordaz. The Spaniard was told of a kingdom called Meta that was said to exist beyond the mountain on the left bank of the Orinoco River. Meta was supposedly abundant in gold and ruled by a chief who had only one intact eye. Hearing of the legend, Germans also set out in search of the fabled city of gold. Nicholas Fetterman and George von Speyer searched the Venezuelan lowlands, Colombian plateaus, and the Orinoco Basin for El Dorado. Other Germans soon followed, yet not only met with failure, they suffered with hunger, fever, and conflicts with the local tribes. Later, the Spaniards interrogated a warrior who said that he was from the kingdom of riches known as Cundinamarca, which was located far to the north. What especially interested the Spaniards was that the warrior told them that during ceremonies, his chief was covered in gold dust. One of the Spaniards, Sebastián de Benalcázar, was reported to have exclaimed, "Vamos a buscar a este indio dorado," which translates as, "Let's go find that golden Indian." Unfortunately, like those expeditions of the fabled city which preceded them, remained lost. Eventually it was speculated that the land of wealth spoken of by the Indian was the kingdom of Arma. The inhabitants of the realm had a liking to wearing gold ornaments. Later they were discovered and conquered by Pedro Cieza de León. And what of the legendary city of gold? Expedition after expedition set out in search, yet to no avail. By the 17th century, the search for El Dorado was already considered an extremely risky undertaking. After all, the path was considered to be covered in corpses. Not only had all previous expeditions failed, they were also seen as high-loss ventures. Let's not forget that the development of the silver mines of Cerro Rico near Potosia were comparatively secure and an enormous source of wealth. Though a few more expeditions set out for the search El Dorado, all they found was hardship, diseases, and attacks by indigenous tribes. This brings us to the end of the Fabled City of Gold. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Traveler's Tales. If you enjoyed this video, please consider becoming a channel sponsor. Your support will enable us to continue releasing quality videos, and buying me a coffee always makes my day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Traveler's Tales. This really is the best way to help our channel grow. Until we meet again at the crossroads of folklore and fact, Cartistos.